Chapter 26. War. The city wasn't going down easily. On this day, the final battle, millions of souls, partially or fully alive, stood ready to fight until their very last breath, until their very last moment. The attack began at precisely 12. Across the city's perimeter, wave after wave of converted people surged forward in perfect synchronicity, organized into coordinated groups under the command of Christine's lieutenants. Through her mental link with each of them, Christine could observe, command, and recalibrate her army's every movement in real time. There was no hesitation, no disobedience. Christine and her army were a single, synchronized entity, a being of pure, calculated destruction. But the defenders were not unprepared. Though weapons in their world were heavily restricted, there was no shortage of handguns, shotguns, or rifles. Trillions of years earlier, at the dawn of the simulation, the creators of this world had decided that a degree of danger was essential. Fear was an equation humanity never solved, but always needed. So danger was built into the system, and so were weapons. For centuries, Evan's people had trained for this day. Every citizen knew how to shoot, how to take cover, how to communicate and fight as a unit. Many had fought at Evan's side, liberating other cities. Those who hadn't had drilled their roles to perfection. Unlike Christine's hive mind, they were autonomous, but they were efficient, disciplined, determined. The first wave of converted stormed the city's borders, advancing with tactical shields that deflected bullets. But the defenders didn't fire. They knew it would be a waste. They let the invaders enter, because the entire city had become a trap. Thousands of streets had been prepared over the years with hidden oil tanks waiting for a signal. With the arrival of the second wave and the invasion of enemies into the streets, the order was given to open the gates. Fire. In a single moment, hell arrived. All across the city, flames roared to life. Rivers of fire surged through the streets, engulfing the converted army. Bathed in oil, there was no escape. Screams of the burning filled the air. It was a calculated purge, and it worked. Thousands were obliterated in seconds. Cheers echoed among the defenders. A first absolute victory. But celebration didn't last long. Soon, something strange was noticed. The burning enemies were not trying to flee or retaliate. They were piling up, one atop another, laying down across the city streets, not in rage, but with eerie calm. Their corpses forming mounds, then roads. A sickening realization dawned. The first two waves were a sacrifice, a macabre foundation. As the fires began to fade, new waves emerged on the horizon, marching in from all sides, using the charred remains of their fallen to cross the scorched streets unharmed, no longer slowed, no longer vulnerable. The flames had died, and now, the true battle had begun. The group from the City Hall assembly had split into two. One group knew their role, to be the bait, a sacrificial offering for humanity's final shot at salvation. There was no shortage of volunteers. As Evan had expected, bringing people fully to life, granting them true awareness in the digital world, had led them to confront the weight of their existence. But unlike Evan and Christine, they hadn't suffered the same waking nightmare. Somehow those two had borne the brunt of the trauma. Perhaps their awakening had cleansed the path for others. Perhaps they absorbed the worst of it. No one could say for sure. What was certain, the awakened knew what they were, what had happened, how far they had gone beyond the limits of what any human mind was ever meant to endure. Some might have chosen death the moment consciousness returned, but they stayed, because they understood what was at stake. Because this world, however simulated, deserved the chance to choose its own fate. So the first group was formed, 180 volunteers. Their mission, to distract Christine, to give Evan a single final opportunity to end the nightmare. Evan had trained them himself. They would never match his mastery, but they were competent, disciplined, and unshakably determined. Using their ability to trace Christine's massive, toxic network, they pinpointed her location, an ocean of dark, pulsating connections, leading to a central node surrounded by her fiercest lieutenants. She had made sure to surround herself with the worst monsters ever uploaded into the simulation. The battle that followed was brutal beyond imagination. Both sides pushed their systems to the brink, overclocking themselves to superhuman speeds. Christine's lieutenants, enhanced through direct neural synchronization with their master, fought as one, a hive of vicious precision. At first, the group managed to isolate and eliminate several lieutenants through clever tactics, but it didn't last. Christine adapted, she learned. Every strategy they deployed was countered, and soon they were out of tricks. One by one, they fell. When only 10 remained, surrounded, exhausted, bleeding digital blood, the nightmare came to greet them personally. Christine. The moment they saw her, something inside them froze, not from fear, something deeper, something primal. They had seen footage, they knew her appearance, but nothing prepared them for the real thing. Thanks to Justin, Christine had transformed herself beyond recognition. She was no longer the woman in her mid-40s. She hadn't been human for centuries. Standing before them was a towering golden figure, nearly 2 meters tall. Her skin gleamed with metallic radiance, tattooed in flowing black patterns that shimmered and pulsed, transforming between obsidian and a glowing molten red, as if channeling the raw energy coursing through her. She wore a white, summer-light garment. On anyone else, it might have symbolized purity. But not her. There was no purity in Christine. There hadn't been for nearly a millennium. She didn't speak, didn't signal. Yet her lieutenants froze in place. And then, slowly, almost reverently, she walked toward the remaining 10. They instinctively overclocked. She did too. But she didn't need to push herself far, not this time. She accelerated to 10 times their maximum speed, just enough to let them feel it, to ensure they were aware, to make sure they knew how they would die. One by one, she drove her golden hand into their chests. Not quick, not painless. She took her time, tearing out each heart with cruel precision, savoring the moment each victim realized what was happening, stretching their final seconds into an eternity of terror. She kept them alive as long as possible, just to enjoy the fear, the helplessness, until there was only one left. As her hand pierced his chest, he smiled. Christine paused, puzzled for a millisecond. He had just received a message through the connection right as she touched him. The diversion had worked. Their sacrifice hadn't been in vain. His final expression said it all.
"We'll see you in hell, bitch."